Welcome back to another video. My name is Henrik and today we're going to be looking at the Hyundai Ioniq 6 in the rear-wheel drive variant with the bigger battery, so the 77.4 kilowatts an hour battery. Why is this car interesting? Well, because in Germany it's one of the only manufacturers that still offers a rebate when buying this car, so around 7,000 euros that you're going to get when buying this car. Starting price of this car is going to be around 44,000. with the premium around 37,000 euros, which is really good when you compare to other models. For instance, a Tesla Model 3 or BMW i4, a Mercedes EQE, stuff like that. So there's a lot of competitors out there, but this really fits in there nicely because it does also have that 800 volt architecture, which is really nice on this car. Our test vehicle, however, is going to be a little bit more expensive. It's going to cost you around 61,000 euros, so around 54,000 euros with the premium, which is still a really good price for the car. We're going to look at all the things because there are a lot of things I hate about the car and there's a lot of things I like about the car, and we'll talk about all of those now. One of the highlights of the car is that this is the most aerodynamic car that Hyundai has ever produced, with a CV value of 0.21. And that shows in the design, because it's a design language that is very unique and very interesting. If you look from the side and only look at the front, the compact bonnet looks like a small city car. Then if you look at the whole package, it looks a lot bigger, and it is definitely a lot bigger, and it doesn't look like a small compact car, but the front looks fairly funky. But that does help with the range. If you get this battery pack with the rear-wheel drive system and the smallest wheels or the rims with 18 inches, you can get a range up to 614 kilometers, which is really nice. With the 800 volt architecture, you can charge it really quickly as well. We have a lot of design elements which are called the parametric pixel design, which for instance are these pixel designs in the lights and also down here on the front lip spoiler there. There's over 700 pixel designs in general. That is the kind of Hyundai retro modern design look they want. You have matrix LED lights in here which work fairly decent. You have aerodynamic touches, as down here for instance you can cool the brakes and also the tires, and some more active aero down here which opens when the battery needs some little bit of cooling. Under here you also have a frunk which concludes with 40 liters of storage space. So the car is going to be fairly long, with 4 meters and 85 long, 1 meter and 88 wide, 1 meter and 50 high, as well as wheelbase of 2 meters and 95, and ground clearance of 14.1 centimeters, so a fairly big car, even though it might not look like it. One thing that you also get, we do have the 18-inch rims on here, which are, well, you have a choice between 20 and 18-inch, and the way we have it standing here should give us the 614 kilometers of range, because we do have those 18-inch wheels. Those are also going to increase the ride comfort a little bit. On the side again, we do see the pixel element design on here, or the parametric pixel design, which is cool. Automatically foldable side mirrors. You could also opt for, well, fully digital side mirrors, which would bring the coefficient down and also the range up a little bit. So if you want that, you could theoretically get that. We do have automatically door handles and the sloping rear roof, which does give you a little bit of less room in the interior. And this is also where you charge the car. So let's quickly do a charging test and see how fast it charges. So we can press on this and it's going to open automatically. The battery is a 77.4 kilowatts an hour battery, and max charging speed is kind of hard to know because Hyundai doesn't actually claim a fast charging speed. It just says it has the 800 volt architecture. The max I was able to find online, well, most relevant information was 239. What we were able to get was recharge from around 15 up to 93%. And we got a total time of 30 minutes. The max charging speed was 194.5 kilowatts, and the energy that we loaded was 61.12 kilowatts an hour. The average loading curve was around 121.3. That is actually a fairly good average, and you can see the graph is also, it goes up and then it stays at a constant for like 20%, goes down a little bit, stays at that for around 20%. So a very nice curve. I think you would actually be able to reach that speed if you, I mean, we did drive the car around, what was it, 88 kilometers before, so theoretically it should have been preheated and everything should have been perfect. But I think you definitely are able to reach faster charging speed. But this already for 30 minutes, going up to 93% is a fairly good charging speed in my opinion. And the back is really where, well, it splits part with me for the design, because of this double lip spoiler in here, and also just in general design in the back is really not my cup of taste. Cup of tea, not my cup of taste. That makes no sense. Up here, it is just, it doesn't look that great. I don't know what, it is great for aerodynamic and range, but just a double lip spoiler is not my type. Down here you can also see, again, we have all the pixel designs. You can pause the video and you can count all of them, probably a couple of hundreds in there. Or maybe around 100. And then further down, a little bit more of well, design touches in here. We have vertical brake lights in there, or lights. We also have a fully covered down under, so in Australia, we have a fully covered floor of the car, which also helps with the aerodynamic value of the car. And in general, an interesting design in the back. 1.5 tons you're able to tow, and you can also open this, where you're going to be able to load 405 liters up to 706 liters in there. So not the biggest frunk, but that is also because you have a sloped rear window. If we close it, let's listen to the beeping sound. That's one thing you notice inside as well. This car just loves to beep. The South Koreans, I don't know what they do. Maybe they go around all day just going beep, beep, oh beep, beep, boop, boop, beep, beep, boop. So because the car is also on the EGMP platform, you have a full platform that is for electric cars. So you have no tunnel in the center, which is nice, meaning you can just put something in the middle, or you can have a very nice and comfortable seating position if you're in the center. Headroom, however, if you're in the center, definitely is a little bit lacking because of that sloping rear roof. Especially if you're over the height of, I'd say 5 or 6'2", 6'1", 1.85 m, somewhere right around there. You'll definitely hit your head. I'm 1.81 m. Okay, never mind. I got this much space, or 2 fingers of mine. I have tiny fingers, but still, that is not much. And also, foot room is non-existent basically, so you don't have any foot room. You do in the center, however, have 2 USB-Cs and a climate control. However, the climate control is not changeable in the temperature. You do also have a little bit of a center console here with 2 cup holders, and that is it. But you do also on the side have, quality-wise, yeah, it's not that great. You can listen to that sound. I know that is not me farting, and you can tell it's not the greatest quality. However, where you touch, where you have your hand, it's better. You do also have heated seats in the back. That's a typical from Kia and Hyundai, that you do have heated seats in the back. And one thing you got to mention is you have a ton of space. However, when it comes to your foot or your leg room, due to the fact that these seats are, well, they're manufactured just for electric vehicles, and they save around 30% of space, or they're 30% smaller than normal vehicle seats, and they're really tiny, so it just feels a lot more spacious and open. So let me give you the full Hyundai experience. It does beep quite a lot, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but we'll see a lot more of those when we're driving, and I'll show you a quick way to turn it off as well. Interior is, well, it's like an 80s Cadillac, which isn't bad, but it's also not great in my opinion. Really depends on if you like the white interior or not, but the quality here is also not the greatest. For instance, the side here is, well, it's everywhere. It's not the greatest quality. This does jiggle quite a lot, but it just doesn't feel great. I don't know why, but it just looks weird as well. I don't know. The white really doesn't fit in here. The black works a lot better, but the white is also like this weird white beige color, which just looks something that you find in an older car and just not really my type. I do like that they still have a central display down here for climate control and quick buttons, which I really do like. Infotainment display and stuff like that works fairly nicely as well, but let's also drive the car here for, well, to give you a little bit more of an experience. Because it's an EV, you obviously don't have any sounds really, and that is nice. There's another beeping, and you also hear beeping on the outside when reversing, which is also fairly loud, but the same as, for instance, a Mercedes. Steering wheel, I really do like. It feels amazing in your hand. Perfect size in my opinion. Also flat on the bottom. And you also have a drive mode button down here, which I really like as well. You do have quite the amount of assistant features in here, which are, for instance, lane assist, travel assist, cruise control, side or blind spot assistance. A lot of things that you need, and a lot of things that are, well, you don't need, but they're just nice to have. And especially when you're driving on the Autobahn, little input and it recognizes your hand on there, and you can just cruise along and not have to worry about any steering input for quite a long amount of time. We do have electric seats in here. We don't have any no massage function. That's what I meant to say. One thing I really got to complain about though is the lane assist on here when driving on these kind of roads. You can see I'm just driving straight here, and the lane assist, it's not kicking in now, but it is just aggressive as hell. Because every time you, for instance, there, it just wants to counter steer so much. I'm just trying to drive straight here, and it is a really harsh one. The feedback you get from there, you gotta really work to go straight again. So one thing, when I'm always on these kind of roads, I hold down the button, and then lane assist is completely turned off, which is nice, because now I can just drive straight without having to worry about, oh my god, what is happening here. A lot nicer.
Buttons on here also nice. One thing I hate is that the car beeps so much. Every time there's a new speed sign, it does a beep. That is not an EU law that you need to follow. Why do you have that regulation in there that every time a speed sign is detected, you beep? Like, I know there's a speed sign, I can see it. I can also see it in the heads-up display. Why on earth do you need to beep at me? So I go in here, I press this button. You can set up where this button wants to take you. And then you just go up on here and you press on the speed sign limit, and then you just press on out and then off, and then the car is amazing to drive. Then there's no beeping, there's no feedback that you're getting if you're driving a little bit faster, and it's really comfortable. Sound and deadening in here is really comfortable. The EGMP platform makes the car drive extremely comfortably. The chassis is comfortable, the suspension is comfortable. There is really nothing I can really complain about when driving this car, just for a daily driver or even on the Autobahn. Like I said, the window, there's not much wind noise. It's fairly windy out now, and it's not that loud. We're driving 80 because you don't also have an engine, therefore it's a lot quieter than other cars. Surrounding view in here is a little bit interesting because you do have that sloped roof, but that window in the back is insanely big, so you can see everything out the back. You do have a 360-degree camera in here as well, so you get a lot of surrounding view as well. Let's talk about the consumption of this car, because WLTP claims around a 14 kilowatts an hour consumption if you have the 18-inch rims and also the rear-wheel drive system, exactly what we have, as well as digital side mirrors, which we don't have right now, but then for instance you'd get a little bit of a display on this side here so you can look out. So a total of 977 kilometers has been driven on this car since the last reset, and around 500 or 600 kilometers of those are myself driving it, and the other ones are the person that delivered the car to us. And 15.5 kilowatts an hour. That includes top speed run, that includes city driving, that includes 120, 140 kilometers. A lot of distance and a lot of different speeds. And 15.5 kilowatts an hour is insanely low. That is a really, really good ratio, and you'd get quite far with it. Claimed is 614 kilometers. Let me quickly tell you one thing. The consumption, the lowest we were able to get up to 744 kilometers on this car. With a CV value of 0.21, that is just an amazing range. So you can check out the video on the top right corner if you want to see all the other information, how much that would cost you and stuff like that. That makes this car really wantable, I'm gonna say. That's a good word, I think. You got a good amount of range, you got a very good charging speed, and you also have a very comfortable driving experience apart from the noise, but once you turn them off, it's also fairly comfortable. The inside, however, is, well, not that great. The sound system is good, but everything else is really just, it looks weird, it doesn't feel great quality-wise, and it's not something that I expected. The Ioniq 5 was a lot nicer with a black interior, so if you get the black interior, this is a lot better in my opinion. Obviously, if you want to drive this car a little bit faster, then you would theoretically go for the 325 horsepower variant that you can get. That obviously is a little bit more powerful, but this 7.4 seconds from 0 to 100 and driving from 100 up to 190, also fairly quick. I think this is completely doable, and you get a lot more range when you get this variant. So I personally would also choose this. For the seats, ventilated and heated is very nice. You also have memory function. Let me quickly press on the one because that's the person that drove this car previously. And that seating position is very weird. Let me quickly stop here. Oh, okay, that's weird. There's people there. But who drives like this? I've set it up to 2 and then it just goes automatically, and it's really quick as well. And that's awkward. Those people are looking at me because I have a GoPro on my head. They totally have the right for that. And if you want more, well, less consumption as well, you can have the drive mode button on here, which I really like. I love to have a button on there. You have eco up there, you have sport, and you can hold it down. Then you have snow mode. So a couple of modes as well that you can theoretically choose between to fit your driving style.
So what is my final verdict on the car? There's a lot of things that I really do like about the car. For instance, the price. It's definitely cheaper than a Tesla Model 3, for instance, because Hyundai is still one of the companies that offers those 7,000 euros premium when buying this car. So 34,000 euros for this car is also a very cheap deal. And I really do like the kind of tech that they have in here. The 800 volt technology really challenges other competitors, which really elevates it from the competitors as well. Fast charging speed, that low drag coefficient, so you get a ton of range. The design is really up to you if you like it or not. You get used to it after a time, but in my opinion, I'd rather also get the black interior apart from the white one. The white one just doesn't look too nice in my opinion. The black one looks a lot better. Otherwise, the car is not too practical with the boot in the back, but you got a ton of space in the inside, even though you might not think about that. But with the eGMP platform, you just get a ton of space. When you compare to competitors, in my opinion, this is the car to go for. Tesla Model 3 is obviously going to start almost at a similar price, so that might be a thing as well. But I personally haven't driven a Tesla before, so I can't really comment on that. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, and make sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Until then, bye-bye.